Turkey Day week here on Good Morning Football. What don't you like? What's wrong?
I hate the term Turkey Day, and there's not a really good reason. I'm just a big curmudgeon for some reason.
You want to say Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I like the word thanks. I think I like my thanks and some giving. Turkey Day. Halloween's not Pumpkin Day or Candy Day.
You're giving the AFC West a vibe with that jersey.
I'm wearing a Keenan Allen jersey all week, all show, because of an agreement I had with him that I lost. It's really hurting. Like, when you're up there power ranking the top 5 teams in the league wearing a Chargers jersey for no reason, it doesn't jive with the segment, right?
How are the Chiefs fans who are very vocal on the Twitter machine? How are they taking it?
Not great. Chiefs fans don't like me, especially when I tuck in a jersey. So I've untucked it. It's untucked day here.
This is our show. Time for the lead block.
Time for the lead block.
G Miffy brought to you by Intuit QuickBooks, and we had Jerry Jones on the show, and he had some critical words for head coach Jason Garrett after Sunday's loss to the Patriots. He was just on a couple of minutes ago here, so here's what he had to say about his head coach.
Let me tell you, no one in this country has earned the right to say, I'm a Jason Garrett man more than me. I am his man. And we want the very same thing, and that's for our players to play at their very best. And we want his staff to coach at their very best. The bottom line is we get graded. I'm in business. I don't have to win the Super Bowl in business every year. I can come in 6th and have a hell of a year. But in this business, you've got to come in first. You've got to come in first. And so fundamentally, you've asked for something that's a very narrow window to begin with. I want Jason to get it done.
All right, speaking of getting it done, Jerry, let me talk to you for a second. Now, just keep it real with me. You know, Thanksgiving is tomorrow. Let's talk turkey. Dak Prescott, he's leading the league in passing. He's on his way to leading you and your organization to his 3rd division title in just 4 seasons. Talk to me, baby. Why ain't this guy paid? Because there's a lot of $100 million quarterbacks that can't sniff Dak Prescott's skill level.
Let me just say this. I think all of us, including the fans, want to win a damn football game. Okay? Now, I know we've got a lot of other things to think about. Who's coaching, who's playing, who's compared to another player someplace else. How about let's win some ball games, folks? We can take out other stuff. I'm not known as a guy who gets hand cramps when I'm writing checks. But I want to win some football games.
That's what I'm talking about, Jerry. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on and having fun with us. And thank you for being honest, because we're peppering you with questions. But more importantly, thank you for what you're doing in the community.
Great cause.
Oh, yeah. I could all day. I could watch that all day, do that all day. I love having Jerry Jones on the show. Always great for a soundbite. And it did sound like Jerry has Jason Garrett's back. And he wasn't shy about talking about Dak Prescott and paying him when you asked him about that. So what do you make of everything that Jerry Jones had to say from a former reporter now? You know, you see that teams nationally, how it all works.
Look, let's give the pretext to it. He's on there to talk about Salvation Army, and we actually asked him questions that he might not have been prepared for on this setting. And you know what? He answered them straight up. But he's telling you basically, no one wants Garrett to work out more than me. Like, I am his guy, and you better believe that I've had his back through thick and thin, and I still have faith in him. But there wasn't any comment of Jason Garrett is the future of the Dallas Cowboys. So to me, this was the last stand of, hey, Jason, if you're watching, I got your back. Cowboys fans, if you're watching, I still believe in this guy. But I know what time it is also, and I want to win some football games. Fascinating to read between the lines on this thing. And I think there is no doubt that there is an urgency to this 2019 season for not only Jason Garrett, but for that entire coaching staff.
Well, let me just say this. We've been watching Jerry do interviews and sound bites for years, and I have a theory that there's 2 layers, and Peter, you're right on it. There's the soundbite and sizzle that is all cool and it makes the headline and everything, and then when you get through that, then there's the truth that comes after it. So he gives the show, but he also gives the truth. I think in this case, I'm a Jason Garrett man, I'm his man, sure, that's a great headline. But then after it, immediately notice he says, however, we are judged in football by wins and losses. I can come in 6th in business, and I'm doing great. We ain't coming in 6th here. I decode that as, he better not come in 6, and I'm talking about the NFC. I'm his man, and he's my man for now, but I still think Jerry understands the bottom line business, and I still think this is Super Bowl or bust. You got to look for the second layer of Jerry to what he really wants to say.
Quite a translation.
That is, and I didn't even look at it that way, but you're absolutely right.
All the time.
And speaking of those sayings, Jerry Jones will hit you with some sayings or some quotes or a little Southern talk that you're not really familiar with. I remember when he once said, you know, you can go over it, but it's kind of like circumcising a mosquito.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And then one time he was asked about Dak Prescott, and he was like, well, when he's running past secondaries, he has all the skills you need. I don't worry about that in that sense. He's the daddy in that way. You're like, all right, I don't really know what that means, but I get what you're trying to say.
This week he's been talking about holding handfuls of Jell-O. I mean, he's got all kinds of tricks.
Then he talked about crashing a car and getting out and walking after a car accident early in the season.
So what's it all mean?
What does it all mean? I feel like there is a case, though, when he says something, and he's not talking to us, he's talking to the players, just like last year when he's talking about Dak, and he said, he's long-term. Anything we need to know, I see with him. And then what happened? After starting 3-5, they go on to win 8 of their next 9 games. This year, I feel like he's saying these subtle things into the media so Jason Garrett can feel comfort and confidence that he's not going anywhere. But with all that said, even though he might be subliminally talking to Jason Garrett, if they fall on their face the rest of this season, I agree with you, Kyle. It might be a wrap for Jason Garrett as the head coach for the Cowboys.
Well, go ahead.
The Dak stuff to me was interesting. So just going in a damn game. Like they had a deal that they were talking about in August. They had a deal they were talking about over Labor Day weekend. Dak said, I'm going to bet on myself. I think there's almost a frustration to your question. As much as he was playful with us, I'm not talking about Dak's contract right
Wins
now.
and losses, huh?
We just lost 13-9, and we also haven't beaten a team with a record better than 500 except for one. You know, like, I think there's that feeling, too, where, hey, this isn't the time for that talk. Why are we still talking about Dak's contract? Go win football games so it makes it undeniable.
Do you guys think those comments come off the dome for him? Or does he I'm just curious. Like, you hung on every word. You always do whenever Jerry.
Fantastic theater.
Do you guys think he comes in with something prepared he wants to say? I'm just curious.
You know, I think he spends a lot of time thinking about it. I think it's important to him, and I think he ultimately thinks it's a business, but he likes to entertain, too.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes him him. So I think he's got them ready to roll.
A man that is that wealthy, that has been known to be a stickler for detail when it comes to business, and we know how successful he is. I don't need to count his money here on TV. You always have stuff scripted because you walk into meetings every single day trying to figure out a way to negotiate the best deal possible. And he has done that. That's why he's sitting in the position he's in. But there's certain questions that we ask, and, you know, he was honest. I thought my Dak question right out the gate, he kind of hesitated. Then he said, let me tell you this, which means he wanted to go in his own direction. And at the end, he basically dropped the mic and said, I'm not one known to get a hand cramp when writing checks. And that right there is a strong
Those
statement.
colloquials that he has,
That's what I'm saying
he
here.
speaks in these
That one's in the corral. He's had that one for a while. Every once in a while, you go out and get the hand cramp line, and it kills every time.
Mosquito,
Absolutely, yes. Mosquito, sure.
It's like, but it's almost like there's regional colloquialisms, and then there's also stuff that are cliches. Jerry speaks a language all of himself. Like, it's Jerryisms, and you could add the hand cramp one. I never heard that, and that's a fantastic line.
It sounds like a big game tomorrow, huh?
I sure do.
I always wonder if they get a hand cramp lifting the Lombardi, because it's been about 25 years, and that's the one he wants.
Focus on their opponent for the week.